Some exchange betting companies run short-lived promotions, like months-long offers of low commission. At BetDAG, we wanted to change the way we did things, so we set our commission at 2% permanently. That's 2% on football, horse racing, golf, almost any sport. 2%. That's just one way that BetDAG is changing for the better. For the better, like you. BetDAG, the 2% commission exchange.
Over 18s only, please gamble responsibly.
Hello and welcome back to the ROKER RAPPORT Extra podcast. You're with your host Graham, and you follow me after a 0-0 draw with Barnsley and also a 1-1 draw with Wycombe. So 2 draws, 1 good, 1, well, not good, 1 all right, better than getting beat. A disappointing result against Wycombe on Saturday, but we're back on home soil against Walsall on Saturday. We're joined by a ROKER RAPPORT extra record breaker, actually. He's completing his hat-trick of appearances on the show this season. We're joined by one of my favourite people, one of my favourite guests. It's Joe Masi from the Express and the Star for the 3rd time this season. How are you doing, Joe? Are you well?
I'm very well. What a lovely intro that was.
Well, I think, if it's record breaking, you kind of deserve that kind of intro, do you not think?
I've never been a record breaker before. I'm absolutely made up with that. You made my day. Thank you very much.
You're rivaling Stuart Donald for appearances on a ROKER RAPPORT podcast, believe it or not.
I'm glad I'm a joint record holder then. That makes me very happy.
You're getting there. Now, since we last spoke, Walsall have tumbled down the table, really. And what was once like a playoff hopeful, now in danger of relegation, really. What the hell's gone wrong?
Yeah, exactly that. Well, you summed it up really well there, to be fair. I mean, I think we all got a little bit carried away at the start of the season. Sort of, in a way, justifiably so, really. We just started the season so well, really defending as a team, playing as a real unit. It was sort of bodies on the line stuff. You could see the togetherness. You could see the team spirit. And they just flew out the traps. It was just, they had a real attacking threat. All the sort of the summer recruits in terms of players going forward settled really quickly, and they're all contributing goals and assists, and we just looked like such a well-balanced team. And that was like sort of the first third of the season. I think midway through October, we were still 5th in the table. And we're sort of now trying to, or hopefully looking at the season in 3 thirds, because the first third was brilliant. We're hoping the last third's going to be very good or good. The middle third was a disaster, really. And it was just, to be honest, mate, it snowballed out of control. I mean, you hear managers say it all the time, momentum's so important in football. And they just lost their way. It started off with a few like scrappy things going against them, maybe just the ball not falling for them, maybe a few odd decisions not going their way. And then gradually sort of the confidence took a knock, and the players weren't as confident as they were at the start of the season. And then it all just spiraled to the point where they just forgot how to win games. They weren't playing that badly. There's only been a couple of games, like both at home, Bristol Rovers and Wimbledon, where they were poor. But in the other games, they just couldn't win. They just couldn't get over that line. So, I mean, there was crazy examples like conceding in the 95th minute against Luton. I mean, Luton never lose, do they? But
no.
I think
sadly for us.
Yeah, sadly for you. Yeah, exactly. I think. I mean, we were 2-1 up in the 94th minute when there was 4 minutes of stoppage time added on, and in the 95th minute, Luton scored an equaliser. And it was just little things like that. For just whatever reason, they just couldn't get over that line. By hook up, when they were playing well, they draw games. When they were playing like average or badly, they'd obviously lose. So it just spiraled out of control. The players were just at rock bottom. The belief was really low. And then it was just an unbelievable version of events saw them turn it around. It was against Bradford 4 games ago. Andy Cook, our top scorer, like literally our leading light through that spell. The only bright spark, really. He got sent off after 6 minutes against Bradford, and he just thought, we've got absolutely no hope. 6 minutes, lost the top scorer, down to 10 men. 12 minutes, Bradford were 1-0 up. And then, honestly, mate, the display from Walsall from that point on was just, I mean, I've wrote it 100 times. It was heroic. They just dug in. how they scored 3 goals. They defended like their lives depended on it, and somehow won the game. And then all that belief that they'd lost just came flooding back. Got a really good point at Burton the following week. Should have won that game, but they just missed a couple of chances. They had the better of the chances. Beat Fleetwood on Saturday. It was just routine was the word I've used to describe it. They were comfortable really. But then last night lost to Portsmouth, unfortunately. But again, like absolutely nothing between the teams. It was just individual errors that cost them, and we've given away a stupid penalty. But we're hoping. First third of the season was obviously great. Middle third, dreadful. We're hoping the third of the season will be good again, and then we'll stay up. But I mean, the race to stay up is, it's probably, it's more exciting than the race to go up. I know you wouldn't say that, but it's so tight, it's ridiculous. I don't know what's going to happen, who's going to stay up, who's going to go down. But yeah, just fingers crossed we'll be all right and we'll get over the line.
You mentioned the Portsmouth game last night, because I noticed there has been an upturn in form, I think, following on from that Bradford game, like you say. Now, obviously, I follow you on Twitter, so I managed to see kind of how that game came to, I'm trying to think of the word, it spiraled, basically, didn't it? It was a bit of a crazy game from what I could see. But last night, similar result, but obviously on the losing side of it. But it was 3-2, but was the game as close as it sounds? Because I think Portsmouth were 3 up at one point, weren't they?
Yeah, they were 3-1 up, but it was just it was so frustrating last night because it sounds ridiculous, but for the first 13 minutes, Walsall were well on top. And then, the penalty, if anyone hasn't seen it, watch it, because it's just so frustrating. If that was your team, you'd just be so frustrated. It's just, the ball's come into the box and it's going out, the cross has come in, it's going out the other side. And for some reason, Morgan Ferrier, Walsall striker, has just pushed someone in the box when there's absolutely no danger at all. He doesn't need to even put his arm on him, let alone push him. And he's gone down. It's an absolute penalty. There's no two ways about it. It's a penalty. But like Walsall had started so well. I think Portsmouth had won 1 in 10 prior to that in the league. And you just think, like a massive uphill struggle, like 1-0 down, Pittman scores. And then, do you know what? The second goal, the ball got caught in the wind.
The wind was horrific last night across the whole country, I think.
Yeah, it was going one way. Defenders gone to edit, and it's blown the other way, and their strikers went. They were gifted 2 goals, Portsmouth. And then, do you know what? They scored the third on the break when Walsall were throwing men forward, which happens, doesn't it? And then they did go on to score 2 goals. So it was, on another day, they'd have drawn that game last night easily. Portsmouth were a little bit fortunate, and Walsall were unfortunate. But it's difficult for us because we have Portsmouth, obviously. We got you at the weekend, then it's Barnsley, and then it's Doncaster. So in the position we're in, it's a hell of a run of games. So yeah, it's massive for us at the weekend.
Now, one thing I did notice is Andy Cook, obviously your top scorer. I think he scored about 15 in all competitions. He hasn't been in the team for a few weeks. Is that due to injury or that suspension that you had? Are you expecting him back on Saturday?
Yeah, he's back on Saturday. It's for the red card he got against Bradford.
Okay.
He was like furious for the decision. It's one of them. It didn't look great at the time, but he got sent off for an elbow. But sort of it's subsequently come to light that he sort of didn't really clip him with his elbow, more clipped him with like almost like under the armpit, his armpit, if you know what I mean. Sort of clocked him there. He's a type of character who, he lives to play football. He hates not playing. And obviously, like he hates Sunderland as well. So
yeah, he does, doesn't he? Yeah, I heard about that.
So he's going to be bang up for it at the weekend. I think he'll come straight back in the team because he's just without him, the team have done really well, and a lot of players have stepped up. They've really shouldered that responsibility. But he's got 16 goals. He scores all types of goals, every type of goal really. Cook can score. I think he's just too important, so he should come straight back in.
One of the big things that I don't know if it's just because I've spoken to you so often, but the big thing for me is I seem to know a little bit more about Walsall's players than maybe other teams. And one of the players that really impressed me was Josh Ginnelly, but obviously he moved in January. Have you been affected by losing Josh Ginnelly, do you think?
Yeah, do you know what? I think we've been more affected than we probably realised. He's really, like, when watching him over in that first half of the season, he did really well. He did really, really well. But he was a little bit inconsistent at times because of his age. He looked a little bit inexperienced, and he made some some errors that caught them out, more game management sort of things. I know that's a bit of a cliche, but rather than like what he did on the ball. But yeah, he got his move to Preston, and it was disappointing at the time. Everyone was disappointed, but we got in Matt Jarvis, who of course once cost £15 million and played for England. And we kind of thought like, oh wow, like that's a good bit of business really. We've sold Ginelli for cash and got Jarvis in on loan for the rest of the season. But I think it was a lot of the stuff with Ginelli was like the stuff he did off the ball, and he combined really well with our left back, Luke Leahy. They had a great relationship. They really complemented each other. And he's one of those wingers, Ginelli, who isn't afraid to do the defensive side of the game.
Yeah.
Like he's not lazy at all. And I think like the protection he gave us perhaps went a little bit unnoticed. And like we've missed his quality in terms of his crossing, but we've really, really missed his work rate and his energy down that left side. So yeah, he has been a big loss. And what's really frustrating is I don't think he's even played for Preston since he moved. So I think no one really has won from that at the minute.
One thing I really, really noticed around sort of the time of January is there's quite a few of your players were linked elsewhere. I think we spoke when Andy Cook was linked, and we were pretty much certain that wasn't going to happen because of his connections and the fact that he's a proper mag, isn't he? Basically, at the end of the day, like a proper scummer. In regards to Ginelli obviously went, but there was a lot of clubs that were looking at Liam Kinsella. Do you think that your better players being linked with moves away, did that maybe disrupt the harmony? Do you think is that something that happened to the squad, or?
I got to be honest, I don't think that was really that was the reason for the slump at all. I think genuinely it was that confidence and belief. I think confidence is just so massive in football, and you can't. I know I'm repeating myself, but momentum is just ridiculous. Like when you're winning games, it's easier to win them, and when you're losing them, it's just so hard to stop. But I think like Ginelli was a bit of a surprise. I think we all thought like he had championship potential, but we all thought he'd be at Walsall for a couple of years. So that move came quite early, we felt. Cook was never going anywhere. I mean, like there's problems with Walsall fans and the ownership. They don't really get on with the chairman and owner, Jeff Bonser. So they're unhappy as it is. I mean, if we sold Andy Cook in January, I mean, it would have been an absolute riot. So I don't think there was ever really any danger of him leaving. Kinsella was a bit of an odd one because he's been absolutely outstanding. He's a fantastic little player. But he was in and out of the team for a while. And so he is like your one club man. He's been at Walsall since he was 7. He absolutely loves the club. He doesn't want to leave. It's only really this season where he's actually broke into the team and is playing central midfield. He had a bit of a spell at right back last season, but he is a central midfielder. So I don't think anyone was ever really going to go out of those players. And Ginelli was a shock. So, yeah, I don't think it disrupted us too much, January. But we did make a lot of signings, so maybe a couple of them haven't really bedded in or really proven themselves yet.
Was there any substance to the Andy Cook to Sunderland link?
Not as far as I'm aware, no. I mean, I'm not going to say who, but I've heard one or two rumours of a few championship clubs sniffing around him. But look, I can't. I wax lyrical about him. He actually started the season a bit slowly. He traditionally starts slowly. And he always scores more goals in the second half of the season than the first half of the season. But he is an absolute brute of a striker, and like I said, he just scores all types of goals. He'll bundle one in from 2 yards out. He can turn in the box and fire one in from 12 yards. He's so strong in the air, and he's got a 20-yarder in his locker as well. I don't know many players like that at that level. Like you think of like we had Tom Bradshaw, who was like guaranteed 20 goals in League One, but he was always a lovely, delicate little finisher. He couldn't score. He couldn't do what Cook does in the air or what Cook does from distance. Or he's so well-rounded, Andy Cook. I mean, I'd absolutely love to think he'll be at Walsall next season, but if my head says he won't be, I think he deserves a shot probably at a club like in the lower end of the Championship. And I honestly think he'd step up just because there's so much to his game. He's just such a well-rounded player.
Now, one thing I wanted to pick your brains on, and I don't know whether you actually heard it or not, to be completely honest, but we recorded a podcast a couple of weeks ago with our captain, George Honeyman, which was great. And one of the questions I put to him was his celebration when he scored against Walsall in front of Josh Ginnelly, kind of celebrated in front of his face. I don't know whether you've seen it or not.
I remember it now, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it. It was brilliant because I was right in front of me and it was fantastic. And I love that because it shows that he cares and that's all you want, isn't it? But I asked him about that and he made some comments on the Walsalls, on Josh Ginnelly, basically saying that he gave it to him because he gave it a big one to us, sort of in front of our fans. He sort of cupped his ear or something like that. And he said, I thought, I'm not having that. You're only doing that because you're playing in front of Sunderland and you're lucky enough to be playing against 10 of us. And I loved it. Like, it was brilliant. He spoke so passionately about it. But one thing I sort of noticed after we did it was that there's a bit of needle between Walsall and Sunderland this season. Do you feel that as well, or is it just me?
I don't know if I said this to you before. I can't remember, because you can swear on your podcast, can't you?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. As much as you want. Feel free.
I think I asked that question last time. Walsall fans call it bastardry, right?
Yeah.
Where, which is exact. And, Walsall had it in abundance the first, in that opening third of the season. They were doing stuff like that all the time. Josh Ginnelly and Morgan Ferrier were, the chief culprits, really. Cookie loves it as well. He loves them. They love going, when they score, they love going to the away end. With the opposition end, if you know what I mean. They love going and winding up the opposition fans. And it was so refreshing for Walsall fans because for years and years and years they've just been this, not just been this, I'm not playing it down, but they've been a very nice club. Dean Smith, won't say a bad word against the nicest man in football, absolutely brilliant manager. But he's absolutely lovely, and his team was absolutely lovely. Both to watch and in terms of just as people and characters. And I think they won the Fair Play Award every year for 3 years in a row or something. But Keats has tried to instill that bit of bastardry, and Ginnelly and Ferrier and Cook and they love it. But they were doing that every week. It wasn't just against Sunderland. It wasn't Honeyman. I get what he's saying, but it wasn't because he was playing against Sunderland. They were loving winding people up. But we've sort of lost that now, which is really sad, really, because it's I think it's the perfect storm, isn't it? If it's your player and your team, you absolutely love it, and
100%.
if it's the opposing team, you absolutely live it, aren't you? You absolutely live it.
As soon as he did it, I wanted him to get his comeuppance. You know what I mean? I was kind of that's why I loved it, because our celebrations were so chaotic and so much fun, and you're seeing that the Walsall players' faces just drop, and you thought, have a bit of that, and that's what you want, isn't it, in football? Isn't it? In a sense, you want to have a bit of that because that means that the players care, the fans care. Seeing that kind of reaction feels I think we spoke about it at the time. It's a unity, isn't it?
Yeah. Have a bit of that is exactly what you want in football, isn't it? Exactly 100%, what you want.
100%. I'd have that over Jack Rodwell kind of celebration of a slight fist pump any day of the week. I'll tell you that for nothing. Now, I don't know whether you know this, and I'm guessing you probably do. We're obviously unbeaten at home this season. So technically, the only League One team to have beat us at the Stadium of Light this season has been Walsall in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it felt a little bit like a bit of a bogey team. I felt the first game was obviously marred by the red card with Max Power, which was but wasn't. The second game was obviously the FA Cup second round. That was kind of it seemed like a routine game that we were going to win, and Andy Cook equalised, and I took it to the replay. And in the replay, I think Walsall played really well, and I think we played really, really badly. It feels a little bit to me like I'm more worried because I feel like we've got a bogey team. But does it feel like that from the Walsall side, or are you a bit nervous for Saturday? Do you think it's going to be an uphill task? Or
I asked Keats actually last night. I said, I've seen a few things online, people saying, Sunderland fans saying Walsall the bogey side, and I said, do you think you are, Keats? Do you think you are Sunderland's bogey side? And he just sort of laughed, and he said, I hope we are. I hope we can do it again. I don't know how it works, that bogey. I don't know how it plays into the weekend. Will it make your players more determined to beat us, or will they be thinking, oh, it's Walsall, we have not played them 3 times and not beaten them this season. Look, I've got to be honest, I'm not massively thinking about it. I'm more worried than thinking we've got any edge at all. I fancy us to get. I think we can go there and definitely get a result. Like I think we can. I wouldn't. I think in my heart, I think we can definitely get a draw. But look, I mean, you're 18 games unbeaten and you haven't lost at home all season?
Something like that, yeah. A lot of draws in that, though. A lot of draws, which it's easy to gloss over when you're unbeaten. We haven't lost many, but we've drawn 16 games this season, which is not great, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, it's a lot in there. But yeah, I mean, I am fearful for the weekend. I've always been fearful of the players you've got. I think some of the players are just far too good for League One. McGeady, you still got Adam Matthews, haven't you, right back?
Yes, it's actually Luke O'Nien's playing at right back at the moment, but Matthews came back in yesterday and played at left back. Personal opinion, I'd like to see Luke O'Nien play a little bit further up the pitch because he is a midfielder. That's how he was signed, as almost like a number 10. And Matthews, for me, is one of the better right backs in the league, but he's playing at left back at the minute. It's a little bit painful having to watch him cut in on his right foot all the time because he speeds forward, he has all this pace, and then he has to like cut in onto his right foot because he's got no left foot. It's quite frustrating. Now, I would hope, and I think I've got a sneaky suspicion he might move back to right back, and McGeady will most definitely be in the squad. I think he's probably been our player of the year. He's at this level, he's absolutely ridiculous when he's on fire.
Yeah, he's far too good for the level, isn't he? And Will Griggs scares the life out of me. He loves playing against Walsall. Like came through the ranks there, didn't he? But
former Walsall player, wasn't he? Yeah, that is right. I kind of forgot about that. Will Griggs a funny one. We're not, in my opinion, we're not playing him right at the moment. But truth be told, I don't have a solution as how to play him right. But there's a lot of long balls at the moment, which I actually wanted to ask how Russell Martin had been getting on because he was quite a big signing at the time we first spoke. How's he been getting on? All right.
Absolute disaster, mate. You know he's left.
Yeah. Oh, he's left? Yeah. Oh, goodness me. What happened there?
Oh, dear. Oh, what a story, mate. I mean, absolute shambles. I mean, that was in that middle third where everything went wrong. And I think his arrival and departure coincided with, it definitely played a part. I don't know, mate. It just wasn't, I mean, it's such a shame. Like he signed and it was like Keats saying it's a massive coup for the club. He's like, as good as best mates with Russell Martin Keats. Like he only joined Walsall because he had a million offers from clubs in League One. I think Sunderland might have been one of them.
He was at Rangers last year. He's a well-known player. Like
won promotion to the Premier League with Norwich a couple of times and stuff. And he just his legs are gone. He signed and he looked off the pace when he joined. And you just thought, he's probably a bit rusty, didn't have a pre-season. It was good like 10, 12, maybe even more games than that into the season when he signed. The truth is he just never got better. And he was in this weird like position of being a player coach, but you could tell like he was the weak link on the pitch. And there was just occasionally you'd see other players like having heated words with him and they'd be telling him what to do because it's sort of his speed of thought and speed of play had gone. So when he was getting the ball, he wasn't moving it on quickly enough, and then other players were sort of having to go at him and saying, "Come on, what are you doing? Like, look up, spread it wide, whatever. It's got to be quicker than that." But then he was their coach, so and then it was just an absolute shambles. So then, out of the blue, he left. It just was announced that he was leaving, and the official reason was because Walsall was too far from his home. He lives in Brighton, and he couldn't be doing with the 3-hour commute every other day. I think he was staying in a hotel by the ground, which was fair enough. Like everyone was like, okay, like he wants to be with his family, blah 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 blah. But literally 2 days after that, it might even been a day, I can't remember. He signed for MK Dons, which was like instead of like a 3-hour commute, it was like 2 hours and 20 minutes or 2 hours and 15 minutes. So some people came out and saying, but yeah, he's saved 45 minutes one way and 45 minutes another. That's an hour and a half. But it was just a shambles.
That's mad. I had no idea that he'd left, which is not me taking my eye off the ball. He just signed.
He just signed, yeah, and he was a player coach, and it was Russell Martin in League One. Like he'd been on trial for West Brom for like 3 months. That's the only reason why he didn't sign for a club like when the season first started. And we just thought it was going to be like we just thought he was the perfect piece of the puzzle because Walsall got such a inexperienced squad, both in terms of like age and in terms of like their key players, like Andy Cook, for example. He's 28, but it's his first season in the Football League, so he's still inexperienced, even though he's 28. And And we just thought Russell Martin was going to be the perfect piece of the puzzle. Mate, couldn't have gone any worse.
You can say that again, jeez.
Yeah.
Now, that brings me perfectly on to the next question. What are you expecting the team shape to be like, and what are you expecting the lineup to be like?
Walsall's?
Yes.
Right, it's a good question. I think we've been playing 4-3-3. And what formation do you play?
Recently we've been having like the back four with sort of, it's quite fluid. It's weird. We have like, on paper you have the back four and you have Ledbetter and Cattermole holding. Then you have like a number 10, which has been Honeyman, but he's suspended. And then you'd have like Gucha Morgan on the right with McGeady on the left, Greg up front. But I think when we're attacking, it's more like it goes to like Ledbetter drops back almost into centre back. But when we're defending, it kind of goes more 4-2-3-1. But Ledbetter drops back a bit further and allows whoever's playing left back and right back to push right on. So it's quite fluid, but on paper you've got like a 4-2-3-1.
Okay, I think we'll go 4-3-3 then. Just so we've got another man in the middle of the park if like your number 10 drops in. But then if Ledbetter drops back, yeah, I think we'll go 4-3-3. But I think, so the back four pretty much picks itself. Liam Robertson goal. And it's Luke Leahy at left back, Dan Scarr and John Guthrie are the centre backs, and Nicky Devlin right back. And then it'll be a midfield three of Joe Edwards, Liam Kinsella, and George Dobson. And then it'll be Zelly Ismail on like the right wing, sort of right inside forward. I think it'll be Cook through the middle, and then I think Josh Gordon will move to the left. A bit harsh on him having to come out of the centre to go to the left. That's why I think they might play 4-4-2 with Gordon and Cook up front, but I think they might go Gordon on the left of the three and then drop Ferrier after that ridiculous penalty he gave away last night.
And is there any player that's particularly on form that we should be wary of?
I think Zelly Ismail, he has his critics, of which sometimes I am one of them, but I always caveat it by saying on his day, he's too good for League One. On his day, he is outstanding. There's no League One fullbacks cannot live with him. I think when you know what a player is going to do, but they're still able to do it, I think that says a lot about them. So like Ismail, every time attacks a fullback, step over to the byline and puts in a cross, and you know he's going to do it. Like that is what managers will be working on all week in training. You know exactly what Zelly Ismail's going to do, but he always still does it. And when he's on form, he's just unstoppable. There's a big question mark for me over his work ethic. There's been times this season when I felt he should have done more. I felt he should have tried harder. He could have tried harder. But the last 4 or 5 games, he's really, really stepped up to the plate. And he was key at the start of the season. When we were having that good run, he was sensational. And his form nosedived in the middle of the campaign, just like Walsall's did.
Yeah.
And that was key to that. I mean, he's one of the, he's a match winner. When he's on form, he's just one of those players who's got quality and is a match winner. And now to me, he's getting back to his best. And I'm desperate to see him do it on a regular basis. Because if he did, he could be anything he wanted to be. But for me, he's like he's the big plus at the minute. And I just think Gordon working so hard up front and with Cook up there as well, desperate to score and prove a point after his sending off. I think it should be a decent front three on Saturday.
And on the flip side, which players are you most nervous of with Sunderland, and where do you think we could damage you the most? You've mentioned McGeady, but is there any players particularly out of form that you think are going to struggle against players like McGeady?
I don't know. So, the big issue with Walsall at the minute is confidence, and like if you get the first goal, I think that's when heads could dip potentially. But in fairness to them, they didn't dip against Portsmouth. They didn't last night. A lot of Walsall fans say they worry about our fullbacks. I think both our fullbacks are better going forward than they are defensively. I think they're better defensively than people give them credit for, but their strengths are going forward. So I think that's an area that maybe can be exploited, especially when we play this 4-3-3. You're asking a lot of two of the midfielders to push out wide, and we haven't got Josh Ginnelly, who did so much work there earlier in the season. So that's, I think, where opposition teams probably look at Walsall and go, if they can get it wide. Walsall do tend to allow a lot of crosses to come into their box. So if you've got, I don't know, Will Grigg, or I don't know what he's like in the air really, but if you've got a centre forward who's strong in the air, and that's potentially where you could get a bit of joy against us.
He's kind of all round. It's whether the final ball's any good. That's the thing. But we've actually improved from set pieces since we signed Grant Ledbetter. So check that out.
He's a good player, Grant Ledbetter. I like
great
him.
Great player. Poor last night. Had a poor game against Barnsley, but he's been head and shoulders above in every other game. And he's Sunderland through and through, which you'll always get a pass with me from that. So are you coming up on Saturday? I'm guessing you'll be here.
Yeah, I missed the FA Cup game. Missed the 1-0 win at the Stadium of Light. But yeah, I'm first visit to the Stadium of Light on Saturday. Well, looking forward to it. Amazing.
Are you bringing many fans up, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, to be honest, I haven't looked into it. I haven't, but I'm sure it will. Yeah, I'm sure it'll. I'd like to think it would be at least, maybe around 1,000 for a Stadium of Light. But yeah, fingers crossed.
And what are you thinking for a result? What's your prediction?
So it's 1-1 is my prediction. That might be said slightly more with my heart than my head. But I really fancy Andy Cook to score.
God, I hope not. God, because you can just see he's a mag in every way, shape, size. If you haven't, for people listening, if you haven't seen what Andy Cook looks like, he looks like a mag. Like he looks like one. You look at his face and you go, mag. It's just the way it is. I'm going to take, I think we'll get back to winning ways. I'm going to take we've had 4 clean sheets in 5, 2 poor performances. I'll take a 2-0. I think it's time we broke the duck a little bit. And I fancy Will Grigg to score. I keep saying it every bloody week. And he's only who scored a penalty in one in the cup, but he hasn't looked bad. He's just, we're not getting the right service to him. So I say we turn it on Saturday and we get service to him. But Joe, thanks so much for coming on again. As always,
more than welcome.
I didn't want to go for anyone else. I feel like there's like a little. I feel like you're part of the family now.
Well, thank you very much. Do you think you're going up then, or are you not sure?
I think the playoffs, but that's the negative man inside of me. But we'll win at Wembley. It'll be fine. We sold out Wembley today, so we'll be all right. We'll win at Wembley, then we'll win the playoffs at Wembley again. So it'll be all right. The way you want to go, right?
Isn't it? That's a great season, yeah.
That's how you want to go up. If I could pick the way to go up, would I pick second place or would I pick the playoffs at Wembley? I'd pick the playoffs at Wembley. So there's my positive stance. We'll win at Wembley twice this season. It'll be all fine.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Well, thanks for... Oh, sorry, carry on.
I was going to say, best of luck. Yeah, I mean, fingers crossed you will go up. I don't know who it's going to be, but I think it's probably between you and Barnsley for that second spot. But
squeaky bum time, I think, as Alex Ferguson used to call it.
Yeah, definitely.
But you enjoy the rest of your week, Joe. I'll give you a text on Saturday. I'm up on Saturday, so I should be there or thereabouts. It'd be nice to finally say hello, mate.
Quality. All right, mate. Looking forward to it. See you on Saturday.
See you Saturday, chap. Have a good day, all right? Thanks,
Cheers,
mate.
pal. Bye.
Ta-ra, pal. Bye-bye.
Some exchange betting companies run short-lived promotions, like months-long offers of low commission. At BetDAG, we wanted to change the way we did things, so we set our commission at 2% permanently. That's 2% on football, horse racing, golf, almost any sport. 2%. That's just one way that BetDAG is changing for the better. For the better, like you. BetDAG, the 2% commission exchange.
Over 18s only, please gamble responsibly.